Everyone, welcome back to your week ahead astrology breakdown. I'm Matthew Oliver from Stillwater Alchemy, and this week, in a movie in the later part of the second act where all these things are building up and you know that the climax is about to come. This week feels like that, where every day has a specific purpose or there's a point for us to learn something that's going to set us up for eclipse season. Scorpio season, and Scorpio season starts on Sunday coming up. So by the end of this week, it's going to be Scorpio season, which means that this is the last week of Libra season. I feel like we just started Libra season. So I've been hearing this from a lot of people. I've been feeling it that just like week after week after week. And also it might have something to do, I believe, with Mars making that square to Neptune, and Mars is slowing down as well. You'll even see this week that a lot of those planets that we have currently are not moving a lot. Like we're really just tracking the moon, Mercury, Venus, and the sun. Everything else is basically staying at the exact same degree this week, which is interesting. And also interesting with the Mars square Neptune, just to be aware of if you've been feeling. I had this experience last week where I was just like, did I brush my teeth? And I knew that I did, but it was like the act of forgetting a physical act or getting lost in doing something where if you're prone to scrolling on your phone, then you might just find yourself doing that for endless hours because that Neptune energy can just lose track of time and space or just take you to a different portal or dimension. If you know, you know. Another way you can use this productively, though, if you're doing something that you love, you can get lost in it for hours. So if you have a creative endeavor or a project, you need to do something, if you can just put yourself in the right headspace with the right music or the right ambiance, that might be a way for you to really use that Mars square Neptune to your advantage. We're going to be working with that Mars square Neptune for a while until Mars really retrogrades back by a degree in Gemini. So heed that warning, okay? Aside from that, I think we're good to go. So let's jump into this week, shall we? I know a lot of people also shared that after that Aries full moon that we had last week. So all of last week, there was a lot of integration or that it was very intense. I know I felt it. Let me know if you also felt that Aries full moon kind of driving things. And I mean, of course, Aries being ruled by Mars, that also could have made us fly through that week as well and just moving into this final stretch of Libra season, given that Mars likes to accelerate things and move past things with haste. So we're starting, of course, on Monday, October 17th, 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So the moon in Cancer here, making that opposition to Pluto. I talked about this in last week's forecast, how I've noticed that this transit, when it happens every month, can be quite intense, quite emotional. It can be volatile just because a lot of those energies that we might repress or a lot of the emotions that we might repress are most likely going to come to the surface. I also found myself just like crying a lot this weekend for, I'm not going to say no particular reason because I'm going through stuff on my end personally, but it would just be like watching something on YouTube and then it would be like a very poignant lesson or just a message of love and I would just like start crying, which is good in terms of doing the healing and addressing that core wound for myself. So if you feel like you're going through that, don't repress anything, like don't hold back the emotion, don't hold back the tears. This might be a great time to have those cathartic moments, whether it be like screaming, crying, exercise, whatever you need to release the emotion so you're not holding it all in. We can also see as well that the sun is making a nice trine to Mars. A lot of times we can view the sun as a father or authority figure. So if you're needing help from someone of power, of influence, a parent, you don't have to do this alone. You don't have to go through this alone, or even the aspect of parents, parenting, that could be something that you're going through. So if you are a parent and feeling overwhelmed with responsibilities, to reach out for help, right? We still have all these beautiful energy in Libra that is here to support you, that is here to balance things out. So just noticing this emotional connection with power, with desire, with what you're wanting. It could be that you're working really hard for something right now and it hasn't manifested quite yet, and you're feeling frustrated with the lack of results or how much energy, time, and money you're putting into something. But just notice this, because I make a point of bringing this up every single month, just because I've just noticed on all aspects, clients, friends, personally, that it can be a lot. And now having this nice sun and even Venus too, making that applied trine, that there's room for help. There's room for you to use your voice to not make this so intense. Now, I wanted to bring something up that I was researching and going back and forth on when I was preparing for this. So Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, I want you to see here that Venus goes 24, 25, 26. Remember earlier this year, and even going back to December of 2021, Venus was retrograde. And so Venus was retrograde in the sign of Capricorn at that time. So around December 10th and December 26th, Venus was conjunct Pluto at 25 degrees of Capricorn. So I find it interesting right now that that 24, 25 degree mark is going to be activating by square that exact degree that Venus was retrograde conjunct Pluto back in December of 2021. But then, of course, Venus was in that retrograde in Capricorn until the end of January 2022. So you might find yourself in a beautiful position to take what you've learned throughout this entire year and applying it, especially what you learned about relationships, what you valued, how you balance things out in your life. You may be able to come out from this situation feeling more proud of yourself, or if there's a certain lesson that you're repeating again, that's okay. So just something to watch or something to circle back to review where you were December of 2021 and January of 2022, as certain lessons might be coming back into the forefront with regards to Venus. Okay. Now, in my opinion, Tuesday is one of the best days of the entire week because one, the moon in Leo is getting all of this beautiful energy and reciprocity with all the Libra placements, which is really nice. Secondly, the moon is making a trine to Jupiter. This is the last moon Jupiter trine that we're going to get in fire signs. We're going to have another one next Thursday, I believe, when the moon is in Sagittarius. But by that point, it's going to be Scorpio season. So we're not going to have Venus in an air sign. So it's one of the last occasions of 2022 where both the moon and Jupiter are going to be in a fire sign. When Jupiter goes back into Aries at the end of December of 2022, we'll get it again. But when we have the moon in nice aspect to any benefic, it's always a very prosperous time. And between Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, the moon is an aspect to both benefics. So that's why I was kind of saying with this week, take each day as an opportunity to grow and expand, or take time to see where those blind spots are, to see where you need more help, or to see where you need to balance things out. So like I said, moon, Jupiter, this is fertility, this is creativity, this is passion, this is going outward. Fire ignites. It's that flammable, combustible energy. When we think of a fire pit, if we think of fireworks, a fire pit, but also like Brad Pitt too, Sagittarius, but things that excite us, things that keep us warm, things that we need for survival. Also, fire can spread when left unattended. So sometimes too, when we can just like let ourselves dream or let ourselves allow that imagination to grow and grow and grow, then that's when those intuitive downloads can come in. So however you want to use this day, whether it's for working on a certain task, whether it's for going on a date or pursuing romance or pursuing adventure, however you want to use this, really strong. And we can also see that the moon is making that sextile to Mercury. So also too, what's coming in, like let's say you're a creative and you're pitching an idea, or you want to email certain people about an opportunity or a proposal or a grant. These would all be phenomenal days. Like asking for money as well. Like if you want to talk to a boss or negotiating things or going shopping, all great ideas. So use it to your advantage. The one thing I will say about Wednesday is that the moon is now making that opposition with Saturn. And we can see here the moon is like in between the nodes as well. And she's making a square to Uranus. So this can be a bit intense. How I'm also feeling intuitively is that it can appear like you're in between timelines where certain things might not be working out, things that are taking you out of your comfort zone. Because remember, the moon in a fixed sign, she likes what she likes in a specific order, in a specific fashion that makes her feel safe, supported, seen, when in the sign of Leo. So when you're in between timelines and it feels like certain doors are shut and they're not opening, or there are certain no's in your face, it might be an opportunity for reinvention, or an opportunity for you to be put in a different way, or for you to work harder, because we do have that Saturn. So it could be work harder, not yet, or there's new structures that are meant to be built. And that's a greater theme as well with this Saturn Uranus square, is that sometimes what we're used to, sometimes what is working is not going to work forever. So by you trying to continually force something, or continually do the thing over and over and over and over again the exact same way, isn't the smartest idea. Even though it might feel safe, secure, and the easiest thing to do, you might be called to push yourself. So that's a big energy of Wednesday that I just want you to be aware of, that if it feels like things aren't working, it might be to put you in a different direction, or for you to try different things that will more likely work out in your favor later on. And again, depending on time zones, we're still in this really nice area with the moon and Mercury. So intellect will be up, connection will be up, communicating with other people will be up. So that'll be good. And one thing to note as well, naturally, we're still in this really beautiful Libra season, and we're going to have a Sun Venus Cazimi later on this week. So more on that later. So all these Venusian Libran topics are still in full effect. So when we're talking about things not working out, or maybe there's not an opportunity yet, go out and network, go out with your friends, go out for a night on the town. Doesn't matter the day of the week. Really take advantage of this social excitement, this energy. One thing I forgot to mention on Tuesday is that we have that Venus Mars trine. So this is excitement. This is kind of really exciting in terms of wit and charm and flirtation and desire and lust and passion, and switching it up too, right? Whenever we have activations in Gemini, I find there's so much room for innovation, creativity, not doing things the same, a time for our other twin, let's say, to share its opinions, that other aspect of ourselves, or other aspects of ourselves, to express himself. And that Venus Mars energy, of course, is still being played on Wednesday. So have some fun. It could be also an opportunity that if you feel like you're working so hard, release and surrender, and then go have fun in the feminine and play. And that also, of course, leads into Thursday, where a lot of this energy is still continued. And we also now have the moon making aspects with regards to a sextile to Venus and the sun. So it's kind of this energy that whatever is going to be happening on Wednesday, you're more likely to get a very clear answer on Thursday. So don't stress out about it. If you're waiting for something to work, or something is pending, go out, enjoy, and there's probably going to be an opportunity to connect or get the answer that you seek into Thursday. Okay. And then again, like I said, we were talking about how the Venus retrograde conjunct Pluto back at December 2021, beginning of 2022. Now we can see that Venus is square Pluto as well. So this can just be in regards to power dynamics in relationships, truth in relationships coming out, things that need to be seen, things that need to be heard. These can all be things to be aware of. Also, in terms of things that need to be heard, or conversations, you can see here that Mercury is opposing Chiron. So don't be afraid to have that dialogue. Don't be afraid to express what's on your mind, especially, let's say, Monday of this week, when the moon was opposing Pluto, when there might have been that contention with your emotions in a certain part of your life. This can be an opportunity to get some air. And this can also be an opportunity, if you're the one that's maybe more passive and docile, to reclaim your power and to know your worth in relationships, and not just allow past structures or past dynamics in a relationship dictate where you need to be. And that can even be as a follow-up to when you're feeling frustrated and stuck. So now you're in a position to reclaim power. So that Sun Venus making a square to Pluto will really put a spotlight on what does power, what does the truth, what does the desire of what you're going after mean for you. And now, when we move into Friday, The moon going into Virgo is a completely different energy. That and the fact that the moon is now making that applied trine to the North Node and Uranus. So there could be a shift in overall energy and vitality. You could be feeling like you want to get things sorted, get things cleaned up so that you can enjoy the weekend, which I would really recommend. Always when the moon is in an earth sign, it tends to want to have structure, things that are clean, things that are orderly, but especially in the sign of Virgo. I will say that innovation, new ideas, like we talked about with Gemini, is just a nice mutable energy. I do want to note to get those clear thinking ideas rounded up on Friday. Like if you can maybe do a half day on Friday or just be very productive in the morning, that would be nice so that you can enjoy Venus's day on Friday in the sign of Libra. One, but two, the moon is getting further and further into Virgo as the day progresses, which means that it's going to be making that opposition to Neptune, which we will talk about. So get things done fast and proficiently and then enjoy the rest of the day, or allow yourself just to clean, structure, order your life all throughout Friday so you can enjoy the weekend ahead. I will say on Saturday, we can see that direct opposition between the moon and Neptune. And then we also have this Sun Venus Cazimi also on Saturday. So, how I view this, it might be a situation where you have to choose between head and heart. And you might simply just go with your heart, simply go with love, given that we have the Cazimi with Venus. Remember that a Cazimi is when a planet is so close to the sun that it gets amplified. All the energy of that planet is intensified. So the fact that we have a Sun Venus Cazimi with Venus in her home sign and Libra is very close as well. These very clear thoughts of what you want around relationships, around love, around desire, around balance, around equality, around justice. These could all be coming very clearly on Saturday. Excuse me. I was going to say on Friday that you could do a Venus ritual, but then I had that cough. You know me, if you're used to this channel, I always take little cues and energies and sounds accordingly when I am recording live. So use your voice. If there's something, oh, that's interesting. So if you wanted to profess your love to someone, let's say you've really had your eye on someone, or you're in a relationship and you've been meaning to take that relationship to the next level, or really truly express how you're feeling either way, this is not a time to hold those words back. Or let's say that you've been wanting to approach someone to gain clarity or to gain closure. That might be an opportunity to do this as well. Because whenever we have something at a 29th degree, it's a mastering of something. It can also be called the, what is the word? It'll come to me. But with it being the final degree, a mastery degree, it's called the aeronetic degree. It can be this energy of closing something out, of finishing something, right? And so that can be beautiful in terms of we're finishing this part of the relationship, whatever stage you're at, so that when we move into Scorpio season, you're able to go into that next part of your life, into the next part of your relationship on a much more deeper emotional level. But first, we need to be able to communicate that. You kind of express yourself and have that honest, true conversation. How are you going to expect that intimacy and that deepening of love to get there, which are key themes to Scorpio season, right? So that is something I want you to watch. It's all like the comparison I was going to give for the moon in Virgo opposing Neptune. It's like you're getting a brand new position at a corporate job that's paying you $250,000, but your dream has always been to be a painter. And you know it's now or never. It's like, am I going to do the painter and really go to this beautiful program in Paris? Or am I going to take the $250,000 job at a corporate that's going to set me up for security? I know it's the right thing to do, but is it what I truly desire? That could be a situation where this could be where you're just going to choose love and you're going to choose what is going to make you feel more whole and balanced for the rest of your life. So it can manifest in many different areas. It doesn't have to be just love or career. It could be your health. It could be family. It could be your pets. It could be anything. But just really take Saturday as an opportunity to reflect, maybe unplug a little bit. And if you need to have those types of conversations or revelations, don't worry if it doesn't happen on Saturday. That clarity or that knowingness of what you need to do might just come on that day so that you can proceed. However, this energy is going to be available for the entire collective. So it's like everyone is going to be more susceptible to that love in the air, so to speak. So use it however you see fit. And then on Sunday, Scorpio season begins. And I love how this Kazemi still kind of switches over as well. We're having the sun and Venus at 0 degrees. So it's like we're finalizing one part of our life and then deepening it as we go into Scorpio. And now too, the moon is in Libra, making that opposition with Jupiter. So I feel like there's going to be a lot of emotions that come through on Sunday, and Saturn stations direct then as well. So there's going to be a noticeable shift in energy, I'm sure, from Saturday to Sunday. This could also be a day where you connect with a lover, let's say on Saturday night, and then on Sunday, there's a whole new world to explore, no matter what kind of commitment or relationship you've had with that lover or your partner or whoever that may be. So use this weekend as you see fit. There's lots of different ways this can manifest for you to enjoy and have some fun, because it's the final week of Libra season. I was talking to another friend in the spiritual community, another light worker, and we both kind of thought that it's just going to be blink and it's going to be March of 2023. But I also feel that there's going to be so much between now and then to just take it one day at a time. And that's really going to help with the integration of everything and to not get so overwhelmed or lost on things. And we talked about a little bit of that overwhelm with the Mars Neptune square. And remember that Mars is going to station October 30th, 31st. Don't worry, we'll have more content on that very soon, okay? Now, for the astrology question of the week, I got a question on last week's video when we were talking about the lot of Eros, what the difference is between the lot of Eros and the asteroid Eros. Are they the same? Could they be the same in terms of meanings, how that can be found in the charts? So we talked a little about asteroids before. And just to recap with a lot of Eros, it's a 1 out of 7 in terms of the hermetic lots. So there's one lot for each of the 7 visible planets, right? From the sun until Saturn. With asteroids, there are many. And when we're talking about any of the asteroids, their meanings are going to be a lot more broad. And there's so many ways you can interpret them. And so with the asteroid Eros, you have to you don't have to do anything, but if you want to help comprehend and understand how that asteroid could fit in your chart, really understand the story of Eros. And very similar, and it is Cupid, right? Cupid is the Roman name of Eros. Eros is the Greek name. So Eros is the son of Aphrodite and Ares, and known for having this kind of mischievous energy, not judging people based off of their beauty or social standing, how he would just shoot his arrow. Whoever it would hit would be infatuated and fall in love with the person that they would see before them. And sometimes he would just be cheeky and he would just like shoot arrows everywhere. Sometimes he would be deliberate with who he wanted to have that arrow be directed at. And then, of course, there's the love story between Eros and Psyche and how that is one of the more favorable tales in Greek mythology in terms of them finding true love. So they're, in terms of comparing and contrasting Eros with a lot of Eros, love, passion, desire, yes, they're still the same in both, but the asteroid Eros could also be you come from a family of love and beauty. You treat people equally. You find true love in that part of your life, or you're always constantly seeking it, or you're willing to do everything to overcome to find love. Whereas with a lot of Eros, it can be what you find pleasurable or what you like to do, or the part of your life that brings you that passion, but it might not have the same intensity or the same drive necessarily as Eros, the asteroid. And again, both of these can be looked at in a way that we'll have to look at the aspects. And so the asteroid Eros, let's say, is conjunct your MC, your career angle. One would look at that chart and say, well, maybe they're a matchmaker. Or let's say that Eros, the asteroid, is in your 11th house and it's making a trine to Mercury in your 3rd house. One may say that you're really good at setting up your friends, or in your community or neighborhood, people come to you for advice about love. So the thing is, with asteroids, we've talked about this before, that in order for it to be significant, whether it's conjunct or making any aspect to an angle or a planet in your chart, it has to be within 3 degrees. And you want to be looking at the entire chart because you want to see how other things are being influenced and how this is going to affect other placements in your chart, or with different timing techniques to be like, okay, well, now your progressed moon is conjunct Eros, so you might be hit with Cupid's arrow at this time, as an example. And I know that can excite people, of course, with the topic of love. So use that how you see fit. And also let me know if you would be open to me creating a workshop or a webinar where I go through some of the more common or popular asteroids, goddess asteroids, how you could look for them in your chart, how you could interpret that, how you could work with those energies in your life. With that, of course, would be more of an intermediate workshop because you have to understand how aspects work, knowing how your chart works, what the houses mean, right? But that is a very good question and definitely runs in the theme of Libra season, which is why I want to include that in this video. So that is our week ahead for this final week of Libra season, everyone. Let me know if that astrology question helped to clear things up. And of course, if there are any other general questions that you would like answered in a future video, let me know. As per usual, I'll be doing the Moon Day IG Lives on Monday as well. So keep your eye on my stories and I'll post what time I'm going to be doing it or going up on live. And aside from that, have a beautiful, restful, impactful, dynamic 7 days. And I'll talk to you soon. Bye.